climbing up Foaling Mountain right now. I think it's only about another half mile to the summit, and then we'll be making a large descent down to Mahoosuc Notch. Much better weather today, not at all windy. Sun is out, nice and cool, probably about high 30s, 40 at the most. Looking forward to a good conquering day. Gonna try to get to Grafton Notch today. I say try because this is a really tough section, really slow, I should say. I don't want to call it tough per se. Yesterday would have been tough if I had to do this. Oh my goodness, high winds and rain and wind. I think I just said wind twice. It was that bad. But it would have been tough doing this yesterday. It's going to be tough today, don't get me wrong, but no tougher than anything else. It's just going to be a slow grind through this notch and straight up what many say is the steepest incline, the steepest mile of the trail, about 1,500 feet in a mile. And then you descend onto the next mile, the next mountain, and then to Grafton Notch. So my plan is to get off Grafton Notch and go into town because I am pretty much out of food except what I need for today. And so I will need to resupply, and that seems like the best place. But if I can't get there today, then I'll camp somewhere right before it and go in the morning. But I'd rather just get done early enough today to make it all happen today. If I'm looking like I'm not going to get there till like 6 or so, I'm not going to do it. It's too late to go into town. I can still get through tonight and in the morning with the food I have. So that would be what I do. But for now, climbing Foaling Mountain and then on to Mahoosuc Notch. It's going to be a great day. Standing on the summit of Foaling Mountain, the first summit of the day, and wow, is it gorgeous. 360 views, the sun glaring in my eyes. Wasn't too bad of a climb, a couple scrambles, but nothing too bad. Definitely seen a lot worse, and at least some of the rock is somewhat dry. There's no real dry here in Maine. It is usually damp or wet, but not as wet as it was yesterday for sure. And nice and calm with the beautiful views that I did not get to see yesterday. And the first summit of the day, Foaling Mountain, is in the bag. Way back in New Hampshire at the Whites. Can still see it. Absolutely gorgeous start to the day. Still descending Fulling Mill Mountain. Those beautiful views. I wish I could still be seeing those instead of the muddy trail that is so prevalent in Maine and New Hampshire. But that's okay. It's much better so far today. Obviously, because it's not raining on it and wind blowing every which direction. But this is the trail right now. It's mild compared to what it will be, I'm sure. I got 0.9 miles to go and 900 feet to go down, and I will be at the start of Mahoosuc Notch, the infamous adult puzzle. And I don't mean adult entertainment. It probably would be entertaining. You'll get to see a lot on video, but a lot you won't see because it just will be too tough or whatever for me to show. But it's going to be funny, but not adult entertainment like, turn the kids away or anything like that. Just an adult jungle gym full of rocks and boulders. Looking forward to doing it, to be honest. And because I'm curious on how fast I could do it. I'm not going to try to speed through it, but man, some people a little less than an hour, some people more than 4 hours. And these are through hikers, obviously. Someone who's not a through hiker and, has been training for 1,900 miles for this spot might take a little longer. I don't know, but I'm curious to see how fast I could do it. I'll be getting there at a very reasonable time of the morning, and I look forward to pushing through. But so far, the trail hasn't been extremely bad today. I mean, like I said in one of the other videos, pretty much anything with the word Mahoosuc in it is challenging. And this whole area of the Appalachian Trail is known as the Mahoosuc Trail. So it's going to be this way for quite some time. And right now, just a little bit cruisier and a mild descent. But when you have 900 feet to go down in 0.9 miles, that's about a 22% grade average. So even if it started going at that now, that's what it would be. But since it's mild now, that means it's going to be much steeper than that at times, which means there's going to be some nice scrambles on the way down, which I wouldn't expect it to be any other way here in the Mahoosuc Range. All right, continuing on. If I don't see you before, I'll see you at the Mahoosuc Notch. Couple more sets. There's one up there. I don't know if you could see it. And then you have this one here of these rebarb sections. Definitely makes it easier coming down those really wall-like wet rock faces. If you're not used to doing that and you ever come across one, always remember if you're descending, it's easier to go backwards, keeping your balance and everything. All right, now I'm going down here, still descending. And so it begins. The beginning of the Mahoosuc Notch. 1 mile of treacherous, fun, hard scrambles, bouldering, going underneath boulders and into caves. 1 mile. It is 8:30 right now. And looking forward to see how long this takes me, but the notch starts now. And so it begins. You can see over here on this rock, there's a white blaze there. Hopefully this is marked really good. I've heard that it is, but climbing down here and over, and then looks like a back up again to onward to whatever's after that. So even though the blaze is here and the trail comes up here, this is a really long stretch from there to get up there. So I think I'm going to come over here where I could take these rocks around and then go up over top that direction. I think that's how I get through maze number 1. All right, got around that one. Now I'm up here. Could go over here and try to jump this gap and try to get on those rocks, but I don't think that's the safest way, so I'm going to try to go down through there. And I think I'm going to try to climb up that one. I'm going to look under that cave when I get there, or a little, I shouldn't say cave, but underneath the rocks to see if I can fit under there or if I need to go over top of it. I'll know better when I get down there to look at it. All right, so far, this is fun. You get to problem solve and figure out which way is the best way to go. The blaze isn't necessarily always showing you which path to take, but it's showing you where you need to end up. That's pretty cool. Those first couple throughs were definitely just some big boulders and stretches. It felt like I was playing Twister on a couple of them. I haven't had to go underneath anything yet though. And now it looks like I'm in this little section between the boulders here to make up some time. But yeah, this is fun so far. This is cool. This is on the left side of the notch. And then over there is the right side, just two mountains going up. And basically they just squished everything together. And that's where these rocks and boulders come from. That's my understanding in common terms, not scientific terms. That's just really cool seeing that right there. There's the blaze. Right there's the next blaze. Haven't had a cave yet. I don't know when they come. I think there's supposed to be like 7 of them. Maybe I've been actually walking over some of them. I don't know. Here's a tougher one. You go down there in that big gap, but you get over there in those rocks, I don't know that you could get out. And then over here, it just looks like a slight blaze right here. This is what I just came down from. But that would go over here. You gotta watch your footing, because right down there is a big old hole. Tree is wrapping up in the head. Jeez. And this big old drop here to go down, and I do think that that's where the trail goes, but like, do I hold on to that vine going down? This is a pretty steep rock there. Good 10 or 15 feet up. This is the first one I've come to that's a little bit of a pickle. Trying to figure out which way I want to do it. All right, I'm gonna figure it out and move on. All right, up's up there. I came down this way. The other way I was showing you before is on the other side of this rock. And coming here, I thought, well, I could just come up here, but then this is a steep drop off. And then I seen something that might have looked like it was a blaze at one time. And I looked in here like, there's a little cave. So this is where I'm going. This is not as easy as you might think it is. As I tried to fit myself in this little cave, but then also push the backpack forward, which is heavy, even though I ate all my food yesterday. Whew. I think I'll just sleep here tonight. Way down there's a hole. All right, almost out. The hardest part is pushing the backpack forward. If it was just me, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But it's not just me. My backpack has to go too. All right. I'm out. It's hard. It's definitely fun though. Just had to crawl through there. I was coming out over there somewhere and it was showing on the map I was going the wrong direction. So I came back over here just to come down here where the blaze is. It looks like it might go in a cave or something. I would have came out right over there. So I could have done it that way, but oh my goodness. I won't be disappointed when I'm done with this section, but it is kind of fun at the same time. So there's a blaze and here's a cave. And then up there's boulders. I'm not sure which one of the blaze is supposed to be talking about doing, the cave or the boulders. But I feel like checking out the cave just to see what it looks like. So that's what I'm gonna do. So this cave comes in right here. And it's so dark you can't tell. There's a big hole you're about ready to step in, so I had to get the lights on. But it comes back here and you think, man, I don't think this is the right way. Until you turn a corner. And this comes out right here. So this is definitely the right way. But now I gotta go over this big rock, so I gotta put the phone down. Not quite halfway. Starts again, but right here, Mahoosuc offers me some water. I shall receive. looks like we go up there. This one was a little sketchy. You go up top here, and then you have that drop off where you have to go to the right. Or you could come through this cave right here, what we all three just did. Not too bad, but you have to take the pack off. It's pretty tight fitting. And then onto this. So that points left, which would be off this way. There's really no way to go through over there, so I guess that's just right. I think that counts as a cave, which makes that the third one. Oh, but maybe go down there to another cave or up top. I don't see a blaze.
You can come on through.
It is a grind. Got another cave here. Very small cave, it looks like. Might be able to go up and over too. Huh. Gotta check it out. Was able to go up and around. That's where the cave comes out. I went up over there around a few boulders. This is next. I think about 3/4 of the way through this. It's a grind for sure. I felt that one coming. I knew when I stepped on that, I'm gonna slide down. Good thing I'm only a foot from that rock. And no, it had nothing to do with me holding the camera. It had to do with my foot slipping. Always hold on with 3 and 4 when I can. Points of contact, so when that happens, you're much closer to where you're gonna fall, for sure. It does seem to be easing up a little bit here towards the end, so hopefully it stays that way. Because I'm getting tired, realizing how weak my upper body is. Another cave coming up. I can see the arrow on that rock. I gotta somehow get down there and wrap around inside. And I think I'm getting really close to the end after that. So 2.5 hours to get through the notch, Mahoosuc notch. Stopped for water and of course the video. So that probably took it down to about 2 hours of actual movement. Not too bad, not too good. All I know is Mahoosuc notch is in the bag. All right, from the longest and hardest mile of the AT, now to the steepest mile of the AT. 1,500 mile climb. 1,500 miles, it's definitely not that. 1,500 feet of elevation in 1 mile. And it begins now. Got into the first intense part of the climb. A lot of bouldering and scrambling and straight up rocks. These are loose rock, at least, well, not loose, but not just one big piece of slab. So you have multiple ways of doing it and steps and so forth, but there were some that was just straight up. And let's just put it this way, I'm glad I didn't do it yesterday on wet rock. That would have been extremely tough. So would the notch. That would have been extremely tough too, because that's all you're doing is go up and over huge boulders the whole time, except when you're in a cave. And some of them I could barely reach. I don't know how people shorter than me can do it, but people do it all the time. There's obviously different ways of doing it. But good intense part of the climb here, 1,000 feet still to go. Doesn't do it justice. The angle on the camera. It is steep. A lot of these slabs, I'm glad they're not as wet as they could be from rain. They're still damp in a lot of spots. Got some toe hold. Man, it's so hard for me to say. Toe holds, footholds in some places. Some places you just gotta kind of find a tree to pull yourself up because it's almost too much to just walk. I can't imagine this wet. Ooh. Oh, getting close to the top though. Standing just down from the summit of Mahoosuc Arm, it was a tough climb. Some of it wasn't too bad, some of it was straight up walls. You've seen some of it on the videos. There was quite a few people at the summit. I was able to show you the views right above their heads for the most part, but it was very small, so I decided to come down to call it out. 1,500 feet up in a mile, pretty intense. But Mahoosuc Arm and Mahoosuc Notch are both behind me now, and that was the longest, hardest mile of the AT and the steepest mile of the AT, back to back. And Mahoosuc Arm is in the bag. Old Spec Pond. That is beautiful. Wow. Well, this tree isn't so much, but... Stopped here at the Spec Pond shelter. I believe this is the last one that the AMC runs. Just gonna get a little bite to eat and then head on. About a mile from Old Spec Mountain right now, and trying to get to Grafton Notch today so I can get a ride into town to resupply, see how that goes. But for now, I'm gonna eat. I'll see y'all in a bit. I don't know if you could see that. I tried to do it with my backpack on, get the camera back there to show my butt, but I got a big hole in my pants. Don't worry, there was underwear underneath it, which is funny because I didn't wear underwear at all during the first 1,800 miles. And I decided to bring underwear out with me because of my sweating problem, or the sweating problem I was having at that time. During that time, I guess about 1,600 miles. No underwear. Glad I have it on now, or I'd be showing some things to the whole world. Well, at least the whole world that's behind me. Just another steep climb with some killer views. Beautiful. Not so much that climb though. By far, for me, the scariest little section I've had. See how this is climbing up. It's done that for the last 500 feet or so. Totally exposed. Problem is, I fell in mud not too long before that, so my feet are extremely slippery, and there's not a whole lot of places to hold on. Oh, I did a lot of praying on the way up here. But look at that view. Yeah, baby. Oh yeah, that was definitely some scariness there. Heart was pitter-pattering, knees are shaking. But I think I made it. descending Old Spec Mountain right now. Decent little section here. Just went down a bunch of really steep, wet rocks, which is the norm pretty much for the whites in southern Maine. But I would not mind having some cruisy trail in here as well during all this. So I actually did not summit Old Spec. It's a blue trail, a blue blaze, side trail in other words, that goes up to the summit, which I almost always do. And you all know that if you've been following for any time, because I'm all about the summits. But unfortunately, I have somebody meeting me at Grafton Notch, and if I was going to go up there and summit, I probably would be late, and there is no cell signal at all coming down from Old Spec. So that was the end of my signal. So I confirmed all the information and everything so I could get into town, get some food, resupply, get back out here tomorrow, and take off from Grafton Notch, where I'm going to get picked up today. But if I would have went and summited, I might not have made it, and then my ride might have been gone, and I would have had a signal to get a hold of anyone else, and that's not good. So this kind of stuff is what gives me the most stress. Again, if you've been following me, you know that. The more when I have shuttles and I have to be somewhere at a certain time, it gives me a lot of anxiety and stress, because then I feel like I'm rushing, even though I have plenty of time. Today, I don't really have plenty of time, and the problem is the descents can be so tricky and tough here, and your miles per hour that you would normally do are so low compared to what they would normally be that I have no idea. It's 3.5 miles down there, and it might take me 2.5 to 3 miles to do it. I don't know. Probably not, but I don't know for sure. So I had to leave myself enough time. I gave myself like a half-hour window, half-hour extra window, just in case. But obviously, if I went up to Old Spec, that half hour could have became an hour or more. I don't know. I don't usually stay on the summits too much, just enough to, call it out, celebrate it, and then move on. But I didn't get to do that this time, so Old Spec will have to be some other time. I climbed up the majority of Old Spec, and God knows that section I did there, which I said was like 500 feet up. It might have only been 200 or 300 feet, to be honest, but it felt like 500, and it was a little scary, just for the fact that you're climbing straight up this granite stuff. There's not a lot of footholds for quite some time, and if you slide, you're just going to slide all the way back down, and we're talking, it looks like the edge of a mountain, so it's not going to be a good landing, I'll put it that way. All exposed in the background. You kind of seen it on some of those clips that I showed you, but it was the most intimidating thing I've had on trail, on the AT. Everything else, like even Lehigh Gap and some of these other ones, they don't bother me. The exposed part doesn't bother me at all. I loved having all of that behind me, where I could see it the whole time I'm climbing. That doesn't bother me at all. But the trail, and every step I took, I slid and thought, oh my goodness, this is it. I'm going to slide all the way down to the bottom, because you can't really stop yourself. There's no footholds or things to grab onto for quite some time. And then all of a sudden it turned into boulders again towards the top, where you were taking gigantic steps and bouldering and having things to hold on to, versus just sheer slippery rock where mud on your feet makes it even worse. Anyway, that is enough babbling about Old Spec. Now I'm descending, looking forward to getting some good food, resupply, get a good night's sleep, upload videos. Probably won't get a whole lot of sleep based on everything I just said I need to do, because I'll be getting done today about 5 o'clock, and that'll be about 10 hours for about 10 miles. So the gentleman that might have showed up on that camera clip there, we talked for a minute. He's just walking up to the top of Old Spec and back down on this side being a little easier than that other side. So just talking about where it's sheer straight up. It blows my mind. That actually got my knees quite weak as I was climbing, because I'm like, there was a couple times I had to, and there wasn't many places to stop. That's the other thing. There was a couple places where I was able to step off to the right and sit down like right next to a bush. And I just had to like catch my breath and thank God that I was still alive. Because it was a little hairy, not gonna lie. So those of you who's playing in your through hikes, I'm not saying anything to fear you or bring fear to you, fearmonger you, but that climb up to Old Spec, you might want to make sure it's dry then, because it was dry today and still hairy, but I could not imagine, not even close to doing that in the wet or the ice or the snow. I'm sure some people do it. They're braver than I am. All right, getting back down, or descending still. There's going to be some waterfalls and such on the way down, so be some great views. Of course, this is great views right here. It's my favorite kind of forest. I love this. Check this out. Woo, doggy. Anyway, heading down, show you the great views on the way. Oh, I remember what I was talking about. That the slowest mile, which for me was half a mile an hour. The slowest mile in the AT. Some people do it at a quarter mile an hour. That's tough. I mean, I was doing some video, obviously, so that slowed it down. But yeah, doing that in 4 hours. Oh my goodness, that would have to be tough on the brain to feel like it's never ending or anything. Man, I'm in a babbling mood. I am sorry that I just keep babbling as I'm descending this mountain. Maybe it's making me do it quicker. I don't know. So far, it's so good. I'm liking the way this is descending. Hopefully this stays up, because this is kind of cruisy for anything I've seen for several days. So anyway, I'll see y'all down at the bottom or at the waterfall. I still don't think I made my point that I tried to make when the gentleman walked by. Then I came back trying to say it again, and all I talked about was the Mahoosuc notch. But obviously that was really slow. The Mahoosuc Arm was 1,500 feet in a mile. That was really slow. So it was definitely a slow day. I will tell you this, everything in Southern Maine has been slow. It doesn't stay this way forever, I know that. These were notorious sections for going really slow, and then obviously yesterday was because of torrential rain and winds. So it's just been what it is. Did 16 2 days ago, and then yesterday I did 5, and today it will be 10 in 9 or 10 hours, depending on when I get down. But all in all, I got some of the tougher sections of the AT out today, so, and the last couple days, to be honest. So it has been not depressing at all, but rewarding that I was able to get through those sections. The trail continues to be really nice and maintained and cruisy on this descension from Old Spec down to Grafton Notch. I haven't seen anything extreme at all. No big, deep bogs or there's some mud, but not even much mud. And most everything is steps like this, so you don't have to worry about any bouldering or scrambling as of yet. And a gentleman that was doing some trail running went by, and I asked him if he was parked at Grafton Notch. And he said, yeah. Is it like this all the way down? He said, yeah, you just got to watch out for slippery rock and such, but no bouldering or scrambling, anything like that. So let's see if that's true or not. But so far it is. It's just a beautiful, beautiful forest walk. And definitely have my decent pace back, which means I'm going to get there probably early. But like I said, there's some cool stuff like waterfalls or cascades or something up here. So that'll give me time to check that out a little longer and just enjoy these last couple miles of the day after, you know, a hard day. This was definitely one of the harder days. And I knew it going into it, which is why I didn't want to do it in yesterday's rain and high winds. I am loving the cruisiness, the red carpet, so to speak, being rolled out before me right now on my way down to resupply. Yeah, baby.